Hello, welcome to Critical Role. Critical Reroll, not Critical Role. This is Critical Reroll where we talk about Critical Role. One of these days we'll get it right off the bat,
No,
but
because that
tonight
wouldn't be
is not
us.
that day. Hi everyone. I am your glorious third of a host, Dusty. And if you found a strange guarded treasure chest on a ship and opened it up, I would be, god damn it, Arya, really? I would be a magical music box that when you opened it, it would have to make a save against Odaluk's irresistible dance. And 1 second.
Hi, I'm
Get in
Jess,
here.
and I and I would be incredibly entertained by Dustin and his dog Aria. That's it. So I'm doing now.
Hi, I'm Ben.
That's not the thing we agreed on.
You're right. I'm broken.
Hi, I'm Ben, and I'm broken.
Yeah. That's my life. Hi,
Well,
friends. Welcome.
we're all
Welcome to the
here.
stream.
Welcome to this.
Whatever
Your
this
weekly,
is.
your weekly recap and discussion show of Critical Role. God, I did it right. I did it right.
Yeah, you
Stop
did.
laughing and making me forget. Okay.
Okay, so
Pirates, guys.
Ooh,
Yeah, we're pirates.
Pirates.
They're still on the sea. They're still on boats. They are now reveling in being part of the revelry, which they don't know they are yet.
Mm,
Mm-hmm.
true.
Right. So we kind of get a start in right after the sex.
Yeah.
That's
It's
a
the-
very good
and
way
right
to
after
put
sex.
it. And then
Right
right,
after
after
the sex.
sex.
They leveled up.
Again!
So-
So that
Did.
wasn't even the first time. So last time they leveled up is when Bo sexed Keg.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
this time they
so
leveled
it's always
That is the right verb.
after sex. Yeah.
So sexing levels you up, guys, in case you didn't know.
Yeah, in case you weren't sure.
It's canon
So, yeah. So there are a couple of things that people get at level 7, and we just think we would quickly recap just because they weren't really expressed totally at level 7. So our famous barbarian Yasha, who Ashley Johnson is known for rolling amazing initiative rolls already, well, she gets Feral Instinct, which means that
Ooh.
they get advantage on initiative rolls, and they can't be surprised. And they will act normally on the first turn, even if they are surprised, but only if they enter a rage right off the bat. So we have that. We have our two cleric friends who don't get anything necessarily special, except for all of our magic people get level 4 spells. So that includes Caleb as well. And then this means that Jester is open to getting spells such as Dimension Door and Polymorph, because she's a trickery domain. And the Grave domain is not what I have right here. So we'll get back to that. Our monk friend, Bo, gets Evasion and Stillness of Mind. So
You can shrug off the stillness and not mind is nice. You can shrug off
a charm
effects.
effect. Or Frightened.
Is
Or
that
as an action.
is that an all
Oh, it's
monk
an all
effect,
monk.
or it's not specifically her? New
Yeah,
one?
no, that's an all general monk effect.
Yep. Both of these are all general, and then Evasion is something that we already know. You can take half damage. Instead of taking half damage, you take no damage when you succeed, and only half damage if you fail.
That's
Guess
not...
who also gets that? Not. Because both Bo and Not get that at the same time. And then our favorite warlock friend, who I'm still flipping to the pages, gets 4th level spells now. And can know up to 8 spells.
Ooh.
Nothing really big there. Actually, he gets another incantation that he can know. So that's big.
Mm-hmm.
And our wizard friend gets
A new spell
4th level
slot.
spells.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah. So spellcasters gets access to even more powerful spells, and people can dodge out of the way. And maybe Ashley Johnson won't roll shit on initiative.
No.
Can't happen.
That's
I
not...
mean, it's not the abilities' fault. It's usually just the person.
Yes.
Not fault. It's just dice don't want to.
No,
She don't
yeah,
want
I
to go
mean,
fast.
dice
Sometimes
don't work
it's
around
nice
some people.
to be later in the initiative anyway. To
I
see
always
what
like
other
being later in
people
the
are
initiative.
doing, and then you can
It's
plan
always-
around it.
It's always
Yeah.
better to finish last because then you can pay attention to what's going on, and then
Yeah. Though I think for barbarians, it's better to be earlier because it can
Yeah.
rage. For people that go in front of a barbarian, they do full damage up until they get a chance to rage. So that it was better for Ashley when she was a cleric because she could stay in the back and heal. Now it's a little bit more beneficial for her to be up front.
Yes, that's very true.
So
As a barbarian, it is, which is why it's good that that's like a leveled thing that she has now.
Yes.
To get the chance to actually run in and be a helpful tank target type person, to be all like, hey, look at me, and go running in. Barbarians in the front, clerics in the back, says Kate.
exactly.
womp womp. So they get a new level, and then they also get to sort of level up in their piracy by kind of learning some jobs.
Jobs.
Oh, jobs.
They get the gerbs, everyone.
Oh gosh, they got their own gerbs?
They got their own gerbs, and they kind
Maybe
of
they can finally make a living and stop all of this adventuring.
Is that really what they're gonna do?
Yes,
I
and
mean-
the campaign too, right there.
They can retire from this life of adventuring to a life of piracy?
There we go. We did it.
I feel like we're going backwards right now.
So we get some jobs set out. I think Avantika sort of like, well, now they're on the crew. Now it's time to learn some ropes. Not becomes a powder monkey. I think she wants to work her way up to being cannoneer, but I mean,
Oh,
Not
man.
goes really quick to like, yeah, I want to do the cannon stuff.
Explosions.
There's a little bit of talk about like who's going to be a bosun and like what's the bosun do and I think Ford takes I should have written these down. Did someone write these down?
Ford is
Ford
takes
quartermaster.
quartermaster.
Yes.
And
Caleb is. What did Caleb take?
I'm not-
Caleb.
Caduceus
where
was
is it?
bosun, because Caduceus was
Yeah.
already handling like food and water and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So I think it made sense for him to like take. Oh, Caleb was navigator. Yep, that makes perfect sense. Good job, Kate. Like
Yep.
the dude
Oh, yeah, 'cause he
who
could-
cannot get lost
Yeah, he remembers
as
everything.
your navigator is probably a really good decision. Like,
Yes.
uh,
Yeah. So these jobs all kind of fit their personalities in some way, except for Jester's. I don't really know exactly what Jester was doing, but it's
she
kind of funny.
likes to like work with her hands and make things,
Yeah.
and like I feel
She's
like
I mean, carpenter seems like it would be fun because she could also probably secretly sneak carvings into things.
That's fair.
Kate says it's because she bang.
She bang.
She certainly bang.
Carpenter,
I mean, depending on what
yeah.
kind of, because my dad lived next to a yacht building warehouse, and like finishing carpenters, because they had regular carpenters and the carpenters that would come in the finishing work, and making a boat on the inside look not like just beams and things. Like, she could work her way up there.
That's
I mean,
fair.
this is all dependent on how long we're going to have like an at sea campaign.
Yeah, like is this going to turn into a long-term sea campaign though? Like,
Because we weren't really sure that like there was any pirating going to happen, and then we get Avantika going after some jobs, and and we learned that this is going to take like 14 days.
Yes.
And Bo was like, "Whoa, 14 days!" I'm like, "Oh, that's no." What did Matt put? There's no bullet train. You got to travel. Water travel is slow
Mhm.
and long.
FMA pointed out in chat that like aside from carpentry, Jester wants to be a tattooist in training. So that's
Well,
going
yeah,
to
but we
be
didn't get to the we didn't
her
get to the
other.
tattoos
Well, that's
yet.
going to be her other job though. on
That's
the
true.
boat is and both of them are artistic if you think about it. Like you can be a very artistic carpenter. You can.
So before we kind of learn that it's going to take some travel, that they're going to need some supplies, but Jester and Caduceus have that covered, being clerics, where you could just
Yes.
make some food and sprinkle it in. I mean, it's not great tasting stuff, but it keeps you alive.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But I feel like pirates or just sailors in general pretty much know we don't get a lot of nice meals out here.
Yeah.
Most of them, especially like when you're getting towards the end of a journey, it's all
It's
uh,
all it's all gross.
Yeah, like
yeah,
salted
it
cod
gets
and
rough.
stuff like that,
Yeah,
like salted meats and
hardtack.
like
Yeah, and
yes, very hardtack, like
Yeah.
very
um,
practical.
so
Yep.
before that, we kind of get some of the they kind of do a little tour around. We do get in the morning before they pick their jobs and stuff, and I wanted to talk about this really quick. The Caduceus and Caleb talk about
Mhm.
fate. That was a fun little thing
Yes.
where Caleb doesn't want like a fate kind of thing, and Caduceus, we kind of see Taliesin taking Caduceus into kind of coming to terms with. He's not sure what he got into, but he makes a couple comments through this whole episode about like setting people on the right. My computer just went to sleep. Setting people on the right path. Uh, so maybe he's figuring out his own fate, and I think like his family kind of really does believe it. And when you're a cleric, you believe in something greater, and he kind of
Mhm.
believes that, but maybe it's not like the set fate he thinks fate is. And Caleb is very much what we could kind of predict. He's like no, I forge my own destiny, that kind of
Well,
thing.
and not just I forged my own destiny because like I think a lot of times to think of fate, you think of like good things happening, and he's had so much shitty stuff happen in his life as
Mm-hmm.
well. He was like, that shit wasn't in my hand. That wasn't like planned out for me. That
Yeah,
wasn't like some good fate I was supposed to have.
yeah.
Like I fucked up, and other people fucked up, and I'm a shitty person, and my life is shitty, and like just yeah, I feel like someone
Yeah.
like that, like he's felt very not in control of his life and stuff like that, but not in terms of like fate. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and as Cape Falk Alex said in chat, it's interesting he's playing a faith-driven character since it's the opposite of Percy, who had no faith by the end of it,
Mhm.
which is very cool to see how Taliesin changes that dynamic. I will go on and on about how I think Taliesin is my absolute favorite player ever,
Mhm.
all the
I love
time.
Taliesin.
Me too. But that's just another example of how he just takes a character, makes something completely different out of it. So it's pretty great.
Yeah.
Yep, and we see Jester kind of go down and see Orly, who's doing a really cool thing
Yeah.
to a guy. And we get magic tattoos.
Oh my
Yes.
god, that
Learn a little
was
bit more about, because when we did get introduced to him, we did kind of get the mention of the tattoos, but then we get to see him actually doing some work. And Jester's very interested in it because it's art, and she's like, "What? You can like?" And he mentions that he's working on some sparkly art or some sparkly ink,
Mm-hmm.
but that he can also imbue you with some power with a tattoo, which is just a freaking
That's
cool
so
aesthetic.
cool.
so like
Yes.
and Matt describes him as like flexing his arm and like you see the tattoo move and then he seems to get like stronger. So I guess like Orly has the strength tattoo then in that case, like based on what like they sort of described and like
Such a neat little
so
flavor to a
much
magic. Like it's
yes,
so good.
yes.
It's
Yes.
Yes.
So we actually, in the one response we got to our questionnaire this week, was sent in by Dizzy by Nature, who's actually in chat. Thanks, Dizzy. What kind of gem dust tattoo are the PCs going to get, and then what kind would we as hosts get? Let's start with the PCs because I still need time to think about that. So, I mean, it's kind of easier with PCs that they would want to focus on something that will benefit them the most class-wise.
Yeah. I mean, so
We have-
like you're saying, all like the people that use wisdom would get like wisdom tattoos, and all the people
Yeah.
that, and it's really smart of Matt. I think that like most of the tattoos were about 2,200 gold worth of like different things like ruby or emerald, but that Constitution was like 2,500 of diamond. It was like, this is clearly
that one's
the most
anybody could use.
yeah,
Yeah.
because that one's like that applies to so many things, like having
Mhm.
like better con saves and stuff like that. That's so handy.
It is also important to remember, though, as FMA pointed out in chat, that these can also give resistances. So Caleb taking a fire resistance one, that'd be interesting.
Oh, I missed that part. There was resistances
Yeah.
to that.
Yeah, there's a damage
Yep.
resistance. Those are like 5,000, I think.
But so if you, because Matt specifically said you can only get one of the ones that improve your stats. Are you able to have a resistance and a stat, or just one no matter what?
I don't think
I
so.
don't
I
know.
think it's only one in total, just based on how I thought he phrased it.
But we don't really know. Like, we didn't really get to go in depth to that, so like we don't know like the full. But I mean,
I
if you
feel
can get
like-
a stat increase and a damage resistance, but
I like that Kate
like,
Fox.
how many materia slots do you have? That's a vague reference. I don't know why I said that. What were
Yes.
you saying, Jess?
I like that Kate Fox in chat was picking tattoos for the crew based on like aesthetics. So Ford's green skin with the aquamarine tattoo is chef's kiss, like mwah. So
That would
good.
be. Yeah. I like the idea of having like color combos with the like
with
what
the
would go
different
great
skin
with them.
colors. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
See, and in that
So-
way, diamond would work with anyone's as well, because it's just a general beautiful glitter. Like,
Mhm.
no matter your skin tone, diamond is the
Jeez.
prettiest.
Jeez, glitter. No. So if I say that the PC ones are gonna go kind of geared towards their main stat, which would be like wisdom or intelligence based on whether a spellcaster. Somebody might go for Constitution.
Do
If
you
they
think not might like
feel...
negate some of her negative? Stat?
No.
No?
I don't think Sam would want that. I think Sam's having too much like a super uncharismatic character.
Mm-hmm.
Main.
And he could probably think of a better reason that he would increase something else.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily dexterity. I don't think he would go for dexterity, because Sam is just such a wild card. But I think he might go for like intelligence, maybe even for to try to match up with Caleb a little bit.
That's fun. I like that.
Yeah.
They
So
don't have enough money to all get tattoos right now though. So are they gonna save up, or are they gonna like each of them gets one at a time? Like, are they gonna take their turns getting tattoos, or like?
It would be cool, and Abernathy mentioned this too. Like, I think it would be cool if they end up finally deciding, and then they all just get like,
matching
as a
tattoos?
group, they just go get like a matching tattoo. I
Yeah.
feel like
Yeah.
the group might want to do that just because they actually like did that in real life too.
Yeah.
Maybe them as a group. Who knows? I mean, we'll get to see more of this later.
but the real question is, what would you guys get
Oh.
as your
Charisma.
magic tattoo? You're going
I'm-
charisma?
I would
Okay.
get charisma.
Ben?
I would go wisdom. If only for the
yeah.
fact that my wisdom is my general perception is so bad like that I would like to be able to be a little bit more perspective. Exactly.
Exactly. Well, I don't know. I feel like the mouth fumble would be Dex. I'm not sure.
Also fair. Also fair.
I agree with you. I would go wisdom. I just think it's an overall handy thing to have. Do you know what I mean? I feel like being
Yeah.
wiser in general can let you get away with being lesser. Like, if we're talking about real life, if these stats were applying
Yeah.
in real life nowadays, I feel like improving your wisdom would like benefit you in like more things. And also, I just wanted to correct from earlier. I said that Orly's tattoo gave him strength, because to me, when I heard it described, Matt described his muscles like bulging, so I was like, ooh, he's like strength. But several people, Kate, Dizzy, Kate Fox, have all corrected me to say it was charisma. Orly has
Yeah, it
improved
is.
charisma, which makes sense because he's a bard. So thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
I could also make a case for intelligence,
Mhm.
just because it would make my life super much easier in my upcoming actuarial exams.
I
That's
sort of
fine.
feel like I'm very egotistical in this fact that I feel like I'm fairly wise Maybe I'm not.
No, you
But
are.
I feel like I have a good wisdom, and I want to be liked by people more.
No, that's fair.
enough.
That's a very fair. And maybe it's egotistical.
I mean, this is like this question is innocent as it seems. Got really deep. Into, like
Yeah.
just the more I think about it, like what's that say about me that I want to be liked more? But I
Yeah.
also feel like I don't need to up my wisdom. That's fine.
Kate said in chat, I want to not fall down as much. That's a fair point, Kate.
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It was a great question. Don't apologize for asking that, Dizzy.
Yeah.
Ask more of those great questions.
Yes, that was great. And honestly, I'm gonna think
It
about
helped
it
me find more
after the
out
show.
about myself. So,
Yeah, please do that. I love that question.
Yeah.
so
but-
pirates.
Make sure you guys
But
are sending
moving
us
on to
questions.
pirates. Yes, please send
Um,
us
They're
questions.
wonderful.
I don't mean to turn the ship around.
Oh,
How
you know.
long were you hoping to do that for?
Oh, I'm just gonna keep trying to stick them all in. You know.
Oh god. Abandoned ship.
Oh.
Nope. This ship is called the Relation.
No, I'm just gonna walk the plank.
Okay, have fun.
Puns.
Avast ye. Okay.
We missed
So.
out on the Jester Not Talk.
Yes, I wanted to speak about that. So the Jester Not Talk right at the beginning when Ford
Okay.
was like going to have sex.
Still
So-
sexing.
Oh God,
I completely
Still
forgot about
busy
the Jester Not Talk.
sexing.
So they're still sexing, and Jester Not
I'm gonna keep going to sleep.
Jester Not are talking about crushes and kisses and everything. So this is important because obviously everybody kind of shipped Jester and Ford super hard at the beginning of this.
I just like watching
Everybody
Travis blush
ships
the
them.
entire time.
Yes, it's
I
great.
don't-
I love it.
Don't ship.
But this is probably one of the first talks we've gotten about it. Like obviously there have been things done, and like the breath into Jester, the breath kiss, was meant to save her life. But romantic feelings, we don't know.
Well,
So
but-
this was the first kind of thing, and I love how Sam dealt with this as not.
That's what I was gonna say though, because you said it was just to save her life, but according to Not, that makes it better and more important.
Yes.
Because what were her questions? She was like, did it mean something? Oh gosh, what were the things
Did your
she
heart?
said?
It's like
yeah,
it-
did your
it was-
heart?
Yeah.
Yeah, so she felt alive if she met something. And I felt more alive because I wasn't dying
Yeah.
anymore.
Exactly.
And then we found out that Not's first kiss was on a dare. And
Oh.
I don't know.
I certainly forgot about my first kiss, and that just hit me. I was like, oh no.
Oh yeah, how many people got like feels from this? Like listening to two people talking about their first kiss, like two sweet little like two people, like especially because at the very beginning of the campaign, Not was described to us as like, you know, to us in human years, a child's age. But she's an adult. But it took a long time for a lot of people watching the campaign to wrap their heads around the fact that Not was an adult. And a lot of people looked at Not like a child. And it's so interesting to then get that switch we got where, like, Not viewed herself more in, like, a motherly figure to Caleb, almost type thing. Like, everything sort of, like, flipped. And we have that sort of same situation happening now between Not and Jester, where, like, Jester's going to Not for advice. And, like, it was such a good... sweet little moment. Oh, and I love Not's advice for Jester to be aloof. She's like,
It's
oh,
great.
you know what's good? Kind of like, make him work for it.
Yeah, and like,
I
Travis
don't
the
care.
entire time. Travis's face the entire time
Oh,
was the best, and I think they do it just for that because Travis is not a guy you think like would blush like that, but he blushes and it's fun. I would totally mess with Travis if he was my friend and I knew he blushed like that.
Yeah.
Mostly because
And-
people do that to me. I
I
like how chat has started talking about their first kisses.
Thank you for sharing your
Aw.
stories about your first kisses with us, chat. This is very sweet.
Mine was with Heather Short.
Oh my
And it was
god.
the last day of school of third grade, and the bell was ringing at the end of recess, and she ran up to me and she planted one right on my lips, and then I just stood there like an idiot for like ever.
I too, like Kate right now in chat, am incredibly impressed that you remember names. I don't know. That's
It's because I had a cousin named Heather Long.
Oh my.
And I'm not making that up.
Oh
Bless you. Bless you.
my
Thank you.
gosh, Gesundheit. I caught
I-
it on screen after.
Part of me is still standing there. Yes, David, thank you.
Okay.
I don't feel like talking about Rishka.
No, that's
Yeah,
fine. I
no.
just, I was gonna,
we're good.
there can only be one of us that can share. I'm fine with sharing mine because it wasn't that bad.
I don't
Um,
remember, so it
Yeah,
doesn't matter.
I honestly am trying to still figure it out. So,
I don't know.
I'm not that old.
Okay, so yeah, I just haven't kissed a lot of people. That's I can just remember that one person.
Dot.
I haven't. Anyway, chips.
Let's
Pirates.
proceed forward.
We're shipping away,
Let's
sailing
sail
the
this
seas.
ship.
Oh no, I feel my face blushing, so now I'm blushing.
Let's go.
I'm super embarrassed now. Avantika calls up some Ford and some of his trusted mates.
Companions?
Yes, the words. The
Yes.
words are hard. To come up and have a look. And we see through the spyglass there's a ship. And Avantika kind of wants to put these new members of her crew to the test and see how well they do the pirate. How well they do a pirating. And so she asks Ford, like, what do you think we should do? Should we just, let them go, or do you want to pirate? And I feel like it was sort of a loaded question. I don't know how you guys felt, like, if he had said no, because he kind of said no.
So I actually have not really about the question itself, but the way Matt set this up is very interesting. First of all, Ford. Ford is still the main protagonist of this specific arc. Then Matt makes Ford choose 2 people out of the other 6, I guess 5, sitting around the table to call up with him. That makes Avantika know who does he trust the most. Like right there, it's already like you're telling a lot just by who you choose there. And it gives Avantika a lot of power just in the fact that they made Ford choose 2 people, and then like to ask their opinions and see how much he actually listened to them. There's a lot that Avantika got just from that before the question was even asked. So I thought that was interesting. And then secondly, wow, I was surprised at what happened next.
The things I like even just we got to see the first flag change. That was really interesting. So we know that they do Matt, somewhere in Matt's notes, Matt has a full like flag language, it's a thing. But also that we got the little Easter eggs that he said based on the way that this boat was heading, it either was arcing around from Tal'Dorei or Marquette or possibly Shadow Teeth or something, or that's where it was heading, I think. But either way, we got that nice name drop of Tal'Dorei and Marquette. And I just I was surprised not to see it, but he passed through it really quick. It was like, oh, it's this little thing, and then we're going right past it. Like, we're gonna just keep on going right through. But yeah, John Allison in chat said much of this episode was putting Travis in uncomfortable situations. The kiss talk, Avantika's orders, being pirates and what they were doing. You're right. It makes so much sense. A lot of this. So we're still doing it's very Ford centric still right now.
Yeah, and the entirety of the orders here in trying to figure out what to do with this ship is very loaded, and I think for Matt trying to figure out where does this party want to take this next and how they deal with this, because this was set up for a full encounter based on just what they had. So what are your thoughts, Dustin, on what ended up transpiring with this? Just with how they dealt with the other ship.
I mean, I knew they were gonna pirate something. I loved the entire coming to the ship and pretty much setting the tone. Everything about them coming and firing across and catching up with them and then coming out and just setting the tone, I loved, because I mean, these other people are sailors. They know what pirates are. They may have had run-ins with pirates before, and everything that happened was just really confusing in a great way. Like everything about like everyone was probably like, are these really pirates? Like what? Like what? Caduceus with his super polite thaumaturgy, and then just like opening everything, just like, hi everyone, I hope you're having a great day. Like we're gonna pirate you now.
Does anyone need
Uh,
We're
healing?
gonna pirate. We're gonna
Yeah.
pirate you, but I can heal any of the people that
Yeah.
that are hurt currently.
Yeah.
How's everyone feeling? Is anyone sick? I can help you out with that. Like we're gonna pirate, but we're gonna like help you out here a little
It
bit.
was aggressive trading, as they put it at one point.
Yeah,
Like,
that
oh,
was
I
a
love-
great way. Like it was just like I loved how like completely like awkward the crew was. Right off the bat, I liked how it was this wonderful dichotomy of Caleb or Caduceus starting off the thing with being like, "Hey, how's it going? I hope you guys are having a great day. We're gonna let me just open up a little doors. Let's make it easy on you." And then you get Caleb being his weird pyro boy, just firing fireballs, and then you got Jester on there just smiling and waving at everybody, and then Ford, who's like, right, and Bo, who are a little more of the threatening sort of crew in a physical sense, and it's just like mixed signals all around. Like this, like what is?
Let's make this as unique as possible.
Let's give everyone a really original pirate experience. Not one they've ever had before. We don't want to be like those other pirates out there.
It's like that's a whole new business model for piracy. Whereas, like, I think the main thing for piracy to be effective is that you have to like go in strong. And like, I mean, like we think about the pirate stories that we know, like these were ruthless, cutthroat people, and then people who survived a pirating experience, would go home and be like, "You got to be careful of these guys. These guys are crazy. Like this is a thing." Like this one, I feel like it's more like this boat's gonna get into port, and like you wouldn't believe. Like I don't even know how to tell you. We got hit by pirates, and like, oh, who died? Like. No one died. It was
Somebody
weird.
got a tattoo.
I mean, Frank over here got this really weird, smiley, googly-eyed, tusked face. Like, what the fuck is wrong with these people? Like, who are these pirates?
That's the name they're making.
Is this going to will this business model be sustainable? Avantika doesn't believe so.
Oh yeah, she called them that. She's like, said that she was sort of like impressed with them for their attempts at nonviolence, but that it wouldn't last very long.
Mm-hmm.
Was it really nonviolent though? Because there was the guy hiding in the bottom of the ship.
Well, now the thing was that Ford went in there with rules of engagement.
Yeah.
No one would attack unless attacked upon, and he came out of nowhere and just wailed on Ford. Like
I was kind of hoping Ford would
did damage.
Yeah.
I kind of a little bit hoped that Ford would go down too, but
they're kind of at the level now that you can't really go down in one turn as easily. So
yes.
Yep.
Well,
and even after like they literally had him restrained, they could have finished him off. Like they easily could have taken that dude out, and they did not. Yeah. Like there was literally 3 of them plus a huge ass troll like in there with that dude. Like but they didn't, so they didn't even beat him up as much as they could have. They rung his bell, restrained him, took his shit, and left him with
Did they leave him with the other
gave him some money.
See, it's just so confusing.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I'm really not sure what they were going for as a group, and I don't think they knew what they were going for as a group.
No, it was very.
I really think they need to sit down and talk, and they've already done that.
I mean, this is pretty much modus operandi for them in general. Is just going in not really knowing exactly what they want. But I think this is one of the first times where they had a general overarching plan of not being evil, and it worked.
This is true.
Mm-hmm.
They and I
They
like
didn't
the
steal
whole
a ship
little
this
like
time.
the whole little joke between our evil meter just kind of went little meh, just a tiny little bit back in like the normal.
Yeah, but
But
I
I
bet
mean,
they
they
also
had a
had the.
plan and it worked.
I
They
wonder
didn't
if
kill
Avantika would
anyone.
have given them the choice to not pirate at all.
Well, that's the thing too. Like when she was asking them that question, it didn't really seem like there was any leeway in it.
Yeah, but they could have tried. It also seemed like they misunderstood the question, which was confusing to me. I don't really know what there was to misunderstand, but
Happens. It happens all the time in games.
no, yeah, no, that's fine. Maybe it was just me as being a watcher versus them being a player.
Yeah, it's. I mean,
But,
yeah,
but
it's hard
they,
being a player.
you're right. uh, but I was surprised that they decided to go for it. I thought there would have been some sort of dissenting, other than Clay being like, "Yeah, I'm not sure if we're the best stocked for this right now. If it comes down to a fight, I'm just not sure."
See,
And
I think
then,
the other. Oh, continue. Go ahead.
everybody else is like, "Yeah, sure," and I'm like, "Yeah, you're not gonna fight this a little bit more? You don't? They're just people." And I'm just, my morality meter's weird, but yeah.
I think it's also a little weird because like this would have been a thing that I would have expected them to sort of have a group discussion about, but and it's a thing that Matt has like pointed out a couple times. It's and they keep kind of doing it, but I don't think they realize that Matt is treating. You can't really have a discussion on a boat as a big group unless you make like this concerted effort to say that you're moving to a place where like no one can overhear you because they do a lot of like this like
Group huddle.
hang on, let me a group huddle sort of thing, but like you look at Matt, he's keeping that information. Like he's like, okay, someone's overhearing this, or sometimes even Avantika just comes in and instantly responds.
Yeah.
And I think that has got them a little bit. Why is my computer going to sleep so much? Yeah, but I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry.
It's well, I think like because you guys are saying like you said you're surprised that they didn't like stop and go have a group discussion, but they were put on the spot by Avantika like on purpose. Like she was doing that to like see like Ben said earlier. Like Ben said she was able to glean a lot of information from them by seeing immediately who Ford turned to for information, discussion, and support. Like she learns a lot, like who he trusts and like who she should look out for and stuff like that. As well as like I think you did say like she also worded it in a way that like left it up to them to decide, but they sort of misunderstood and were like, okay, we have to do this, so let's do it. And
I felt like they could have somehow gotten out of it, but that was just me.
yeah, but once they
other part is which of those players kind of did want to do a pirate.
well,
yeah, but it really did come down to just the three of them. It came down to Laura, Taliesin, and Travis.
Did it though? Bo was like speaking up for it as well, wasn't she? And like
that was after they had made
was
the
that
decision
after?
to go.
Oh, okay.
They're like, yeah, this is what we're gonna do, and Bo was like, okay, let's do this, and everybody else was like,
I mean, it was interesting that Travis as Ford picked those people to come up. You know.
I don't know. I thought like they're also like every time the question goes to Caleb's like, I assume we're just kind of going along with this until we can get away from it. So it makes sense. Like no matter what, they're in the middle of the ocean. It makes sense to stay on Avantika's good side until they have a means of separating. So, it does make sense to keep her happy and such like that. Like
I mean, this group is dealing with a lot of things that they need to deal with, but they also can't really deal with being stuck in the middle of the ocean because also there's still the whole thing of Ford, like, what's going on? Are we really gonna like be doing all these things and like unleashing hell?
Yeah.
But so we get the pirating done. they
Yeah.
find this chest that's carrying a magical item, and it's definitely just this one little item. And I liked how it was like being held with sand, and like when the guard finally saw what was in it, was just like,
Are you
fucking
fucking serious?
really?
Oh yeah, he was so pissed. That
Like,
was so
that
good.
was so
this
funny.
is
Oh
what I
my
was
God.
doing. And
I
then he
love
probably,
that.
what I love is he probably had a bunch of flashbacks to a bunch of times that he'd done this and been like, was I like risking my life for like someone's paint?
I wonder what that paint's for, man.
I
That's
was
probably
gonna-
the most intriguing
Yes.
part of this episode.
That's what I was gonna say too, Ben. Who do you think this paint was going to?
Yeah,
Like, do you think it was going to some upper, higher power, like evil, like not you know what I mean, but like some like mob boss type thing, or was it going to someone like Gilmore to sell like Gilmore's glorious goods? You know what I mean, like.
How expensive is it? What does it do?
Well, and we
It
don't
hasn't
get to
been
know-
identified
we don't know
yet.
yeah, we don't know the provenance of it. We don't know who paid, because he was sort of like, this is just sort of like a don't ask, don't tell sort of thing. I get told to take this and guard it. Like, I don't know who like actually like, and like where is it going to? Like, who's it going to get picked up by? I think they had an opportunity to maybe ask, some more questions about the invoice. And it was an invoice. It was like hastily written on the end of the ship's invoice too. I was also very intrigued about like who could possibly using this, because like, I mean, it's magic paints, so it could be done for like all sorts of things.
So
like,
is it are we looking at, what is it, Nolzur's magnificent pigments or whatever it is? Like, are we looking at the official? Because there was only one. There was only one, and then the paintbrush
Yeah,
was
that
described
paint
as
has,
being special. So is there something inherently special? Is it a slight mod? Is it a slight matte mod? Is it a bit of a custom job here? Like, it seemed to
Yeah, it'd be
follow the
interesting to know.
same. It seemed to follow the same sort of rules. Yeah, it would be interesting. It would be interesting to know if it was like the exact one in the Dungeon Master's Guide, or if it's a matte modifier. Like,
well, because Nosler says multiple pots. You have
exactly, it has
different-
multiple pots of color, and this one specifically only had one, and it had sort of a different limitation to it. And like the paintbrush was described as being special in this case, so I can't help but wonder if it's a slight different version
Variation.
of the magnificent pigments. That, like, okay, can I just say how freaking excited I was, because my main PC, my main like the game that I play most regularly, have been playing for the last like 2.5 years, something like that, has those pigments, and one of the first things she did with them was make dicks and butts. And one of the first freaking thing Jester did was make a dick, and I was like, yes! I feel so like valid
feel
right now.
validated?
Yes!
Well, and I think that was the greatest part, is the group as a whole. I think it was like, if you draw a dick, it'll be a real dick, and like Matt
had to
being
specify
like,
it was stone. Like, it's like,
well,
it's
yeah,
not
and
flesh.
I like that.
It's not a flappy flesh thing.
Which when he described that, I'm like, oh, Dan gave you a lot of leniency in the way you use your pigments, but also
Yeah.
like Matt didn't even think about that was what it was going to be used for. Like he set up this whole scenario that they'd find this magic paint, and he's been in front of Jester for so long, like that didn't even. I love that it just didn't even cross his mind, because he's just thinking. He's just being a DM with his toys, like, oh, this is going to be cool if they find this, and like, it's the thing. And then they get it, and just like every good party does to the DM's toys, they take it, and then no, but that's not how you're supposed to play with it. But dicks.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I mean, it makes so much sense. We've seen her scribble dicks on
right?
everything. It makes so much sense, and I love the concept that, like, oh, the players can use this for like really ingenious things. Like, Not was like, oh, maybe we can make a boat. Like, well, we could, but it would take a lot of, like, we'd have to basically use up the floor of this boat. Like, we would have to, like, to make a new boat, right? Like, you'd have to have a huge surface, and it would use up the majority of the paint.
Yeah,
You could
I
use it
do
to
like
make doors.
boatception. That's a great idea,
and
though.
they did discuss some useful things that,
But
like,
out of boat.
but at the end of the day, the characters are gonna make nonsense stuff with that stuff. Like, literally, my character, I wait every day. Every day we go on an adventure, I have those pigments in mind, and I'm like, ooh, boy, if it comes up that I can, like, make something useful. And every once in a while, I've been able to, like, paint a costume. you know what I mean, for us to hide in. I've been able to like make some like mildly useful stuff. But at the end of every day, because you get to use it 3 times a day, at least the Magnificent Pigments you do, if I have not used those pigments for something useful, I am using them to make junk. Like, that's what the players are gonna do, I just feel like. Although the limitation on this one is very interesting. Like, I have to say, the fact that they very expressly said, like, there's only this much, I feel like they're gonna be a little bit more cautious than otherwise. But she did already make a dick, and then she made a little shrine.
Yeah.
So she has already made some things with that.
And that was with a talk with the Traveler, which is something we didn't really talk about.
Well, yeah, we haven't really got, because I was the next thing we would talk is when they come back from the ship.
Yeah.
We get a couple things. We get Caleb talking to Ford about, well, what are we doing? Like, because Ford talks about, hey, Avantika thinks that we could find this other piece to this whole Ukatoa puzzle in a place where my ship sank. And Caleb's like, do we really want to unleash a giant snake upon the world? Like, what are we doing here? Like, is this really what we should be doing? Like, and like Ford has been very not answering any of those questions in any sort of way that makes you think one way or the other. He's been very gray in this. Every time it's been sort of brought up. He talks about the power.
Yeah.
And
I don't think he knows what he wants to do.
Well, and it's very good because like we don't really get any motives out of Ford ever that are solid. Like, everything about Ford is, pardon the pun, because I didn't actually plan on this, but fluid. Like, that laugh gives me joy, though. I mean, but it is like he can change his shape. It's very fluid. He himself, his voice, is very fluid. We don't really know where he stands because it.
Yep. I feel like that's intentional.
It meanders.
Does anyone else feel like
I
that's
think.
intentional?
I think it's intentional too, and I think it's just that Travis gets to play this really multi-layered character as opposed to what he did with Grog, and like we all just automatically assume that all these characters are okay. I mean, we don't know Ford is like evil. We know it. But like, I mean, as a viewer, I'm trying to like just separate myself as a fan of Critical Role.
Yeah.
You don't really think too much about, but they're making these characters, it's all going to be like they're all just good, right? They're going to do good things. And like we get this campaign is a lot more of the are they good? I mean, they just did this thing. That's not great.
Yeah, I mean,
as
they
opposed
don't
to
know
Vox
themselves.
Machina, where it was always like, yeah, and that's what I love about this.
I think with Vox Machina, they were a little bit further on. They still had some moral dilemmas. We had some alignment shift.
Yeah,
but
not like
these guys are much more of a trash fire in a lovely way. A lovely trash fire.
I agree with that.
A wonderful, fun.
We heard stories of pre-stream Vox Machina, and a lot of stuff that they did seemed like a trash fire.
Yeah.
I think that we'll eventually maybe see that fire focus in a certain type of burn. But right now it's just everywhere, and you're not really sure where to put your focus on. Like, is it going to burn in like this way? Is it going to what? And I think that's what I like, is like they're just kind of finding out their stuff too. As they go, but I really don't want Ukatoa because that's just bad. But then also, like, even they made the old comment. Okay, we're just pirates now. Like, there's a whole war going on over here, but we just stopped caring about that.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how Matt ties all these threads together because of going off so far to the pirate side. Because there's still stuff happening over there, and eventually they're going to get back there.
Well, yeah, and like, so we kind of, Caleb and Ford talk about like what are we gonna go look for this other piece? Do you think they need all three? We get we get. I was super excited. I did not expect the traveler to just kind of show up.
Here. Yeah.
That was a fun thing. We hadn't seen him in a while. Also, I loved the reaction when he talked about meeting the brethren.
Ooh, yeah. And I love that
And
everyone
how
else
like
was
everyone was like,
freaking
"What?
out, but they were like, you
What?"
don't know. You don't know this. She
Yeah.
has not said it to you. You are not there hearing the traveler speak right now. Like, she's getting all excited and pumped for it. I'm hoping that at one point she's going to start being like, hey guys, can we start heading in this direction? There's a thing I really want to do. And, like, they're going to have to feel like, okay, Jester, you know what I mean? Like, we haven't, you know what I mean? Like, they're gonna have to act like they don't know it's for her mystery.
Yeah, and they're all still really confused as their PCs about who the traveler is that she worships and sometimes talks to, and like what? And I also like Marisha's little comment. She's like, "Is there like an advent calendar for this?" And I just love the idea that every day Jester opens up the advent calendar as we're getting closer to meeting the traveler, and inside is probably just chaos. You never know what it's going to be.
Oh my
Maybe
God.
one day it's candy, maybe one day it's a button, maybe the other day it's a snake.
Oh,
Yes.
snakes.
But like those like fake peanut pop out snakes. The
Yeah,
ones
yeah,
that's
yeah.
Like,
It's just
like,
like
like
yeah.
It's not. Wait, it's not Ukatoa.
no, because she's not the gifted one. Which I mean, that is something they talked about too. That Ford tells the group that like that's when he comes back to the room. They have that discussion about how he's like, so I do want to explain that I've talked to Avantika, and she said that she knew Vandrin, and that the sword I have is called the Sword of Fathoms, and that if we go back to where my ship sank, that we might find stuff. And that's when they sort of propose, they're like, well, could we kind of try and go there on our own? You know what I mean? Like, could we do that
Not
without
with, like,
Avantika and stuff? He's like, well, I only know the general sort of area, whereas she has a better understanding of, you know what I mean, of where they might need to go and stuff like that. So we have all that fun stuff. Also, we had them while they were doing all their analysis of the items in the room. We had them look at the shield. Did they ever say what the shield did?
It did a little. Oh, I meant to go back because I kept glossing over the shield in my rewatch too. It did some sort
Plus
of
two.
little bit of.
Well, but that's
Was
what
it
a
plus
regular
two?
that's what a regular shield does is +2. This
I
had
thought
something
it did
special.
a little bit of magic-y to it.
Well, that's the thing. I feel like I didn't catch them saying exactly what it does. I feel like he said several times, like, oh, this is interesting, this is interesting. I don't know if I wanted to replace my shield, but then he obviously eventually did. And he even specifically said to Matt that he was like, oh, how many items am I allowed to have attuned? So it is an attuned item. And +3 arcane reflection of some sort. Oh, is that what
I
it
don't know.
was?
We're getting a lot of different answers here.
Yeah. So that I'm gonna go ahead and say it's a +2 on top of the +2. See, we have a few different answers. We have a few, so I cannot confirm which one it was. But I was trying to hear it and I could not hear. I just kept hearing Taliesin going interesting.
Well, and he mentioned something that maybe he could take his beetle wings off of the one and then
decorate
put them
this.
on the.
Yeah, I heard more about the aesthetic of the shield
right?
than about the actual practical uses of it. So that's
Well, we'll just put a block on the shield talk right now.
Yep, there you go. Let's do that.
So there was also
We
the
know for
conversation
sure.
that happened between Caleb and Ford after Ford told all the stuff to the group. Just between Ford and Caleb, how Caleb is very calculated and they are trying to figure out what exactly is going on. And with the group, whether like what our direction wants to be again, kinda, and nothing really gets too resolved in my opinion, but they do kind of get a bonding moment between Caleb and Ford.
Like
which
Ford
is
does
nice.
say that he admires Caleb's analytical thinking,
which is important. And then also, right at the end, Caleb sends Ford a message saying that he thinks Avantika will attempt to kill him, which is...
and he was perfectly okay. He was. I mean, he knew. He kind of knows that already.
Yeah, but I think that's big. that at least Caleb is watching out for Ford.
Yeah.
I mean, it's obvious Avantika is very fanatical about the Ukatoa stuff, and Ford keeps his cards really close to his chest over that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you could, every once in a while it peeks out, you could kind of see he's, like, very interested in gaining some power, but he does get a dream that night after, I mean, do we want to talk anything more about
No, I would
the
say go to the
Traveler?
dream.
Yeah. So he does get the dream, where it's three people, him and Avantika, and he's glowing, and they're swimming through the water, and it gets easier, and he kind of gets a vision of was it three rocks?
3 large masses
Three
beneath
large
you, creating
masses.
a triangle.
Yeah.
Yep. And I think these masses represent where the people are supposed to stand, him, Avantika, and whoever the current third person is, because apparently there is already a third person.
Mm-hmm.
It like just based on what I got from the dream.
Yeah,
But
I thought it
there's-
was something like that too, because like when he wakes up, they go straight for thinking it's landmarks,
Yeah,
Yeah.
he goes straight to pulling out a map and trying to
and
see if
there's
it's a
nothing really.
triangulation.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which I didn't
Um,
catch from it.
Yeah. And then also just the words that are said, watching, learn, reward.
Mm-hmm. It was
Uh,
simplified
those
down
are-
to 3 words.
Mm-hmm. So
Yeah, like I'm watching you, figure it out, and you'll get
Get a
your
reward.
prize.
Well, what I thought
Yeah.
was interesting was that when Matt starts describing the dream at the very beginning, he describes it as like he's kicking through very thick water and it's very hard at first. And that's when he sees Avantika, and Avantika is glowing, and then she points to Ford and he begins glowing, and then swimming gets easier. And I thought that was really interesting, was like, is Ukatoa telling him to stay with Avantika? Is Ukatoa saying that like your path will be easier? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sticking with Avantika.
I'm almost under the assumption that it's not necessarily Avantika, but it's the power Avantika has that once Ford gets it, he'll have the same exact control.
Yep. Okay.
But, like, I don't know
You go.
I don't know if any of you thought this too, though, because this is like, is this the first dream or the second dream we have after the breaking of the seal? Like,
Second?
no, is it the second?
You mean
Like,
since she
since
had
since the temple,
her
yeah,
hand
since she gave
removed?
yes,
I think this is the second, isn't it?
because I expect like maybe like a little bit more from Ukatoa. Like, I mean, we're weakening the seal, right? Like, I expected more talking, but he's very still into the watching.
I mean,
Yeah.
isn't this still like, I mean, we used to go many, many episodes without dreams.
That's true.
And now we're getting one like almost like
Like,
one episode
every night.
almost.
Yeah, because he's getting
Yeah.
close. Ukatoa is like
yeah.
keeping his followers interested. That makes sense.
It's
I didn't think about that. Thank you.
It's interesting. I'm not sure exactly when we're going to be getting this, because if we're getting this at this low level, there's nothing they can do to stop this.
That's what I'm afraid of too. Like, they're just
Yeah.
doing this thing because they think that's what they should be doing, and I'm like, but like if you get it out, then it's like if they had done the whole Vecna arc in Vox Machina, like
Level 10.
Well, but they also have pointed out they're like they don't want Avantika to get it first. So
Yeah.
are they doing it with the intention of like just blocking Avantika? Are they doing it because Ford is pushing it because he wants it?
Yeah.
Are they doing it? You know what I mean? Like,
I don't
Yeah,
think
'cause, like-
Ford knows.
no,
I mean, here's
I don't think
the
any
thing,
of
like-
them know. Honestly,
No.
I think they're just moving forward because it's momentum.
yeah, they've unlocked the temple. I mean, it's the ball rolling. They can't stop that now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they've gotten what Avantika has taken years of following and doing. They've done, and they're in all of like it's just, yeah, like this is probably gonna happen,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just a matter of if is it Ford or is it Avantika.
Yeah, Uncle Luke in chat pointed out again, like, interesting that Ukatoa's followers are gathering, and soon the travelers will be too. Like, it
Like, what is going on
it
in the
definitely
world?
seems like we've had a few hints at to stuff like that a few people have been kind of all trying to make a break for it? I don't know. Like,
Yeah,
like
this is.
know.
Well,
into the
I
world?
didn't.
Is
Oh,
there like a known weakening of the rift
I
happening?
didn't even put that
Like,
together because
there's a
the
few.
Traveler has his group of people, but then we also know that there's these three beasts, these three avatars that are sealed behind things. Like,
Hmm.
are there other groups like unsealing? Is Jorhas unsealing that underground worm thing?
Hmm.
Like, what's happening?
Yeah, a
There's
lot
so
of
much
stuff.
going on. And
There's
honestly, my brain is not able to comprehend what
Yeah.
Matt could possibly be thinking.
Yeah.
No one can know that. It is
Yep.
unknowable.
Yep. So I mean,
Yeah.
we finally get past that, and we head towards Darktoe, and we
And
got.
well, and we get
Go
we
ahead.
get a lot of lore about Doctor. Sorry,
Yeah,
go ahead.
we got. No, I was gonna say the same thing. We got so much lore about
Yeah.
Darktoe. Go ahead. I thought it was
Well,
really.
when we get to learn a little bit about how the piracy of this area started. It's only been about 40 years old,
Mhm.
and it's basically it broke off from the people. What were they called again? The Clovis, the
The
Yes.
Clovis
the Clovis
Concord.
Concord.
Yeah,
Yeah. No, it has not been taken back by the Clovis Concord.
yeah, but it was like an offshoot.
previously it was
Yeah,
previously like a repair and stopping station for long distance shipping from the Menagerie Coast.
yeah. Oh, I was talking about the Revelry
Mhm.
as a faction, like they were private, smaller businesses that weren't getting what they wanted out of the Clovis Concord's control of the shipping lanes and sort of broke off and became this pirating group that we learn, as Matt says, you are all now a part of. You are now a part of the Revelry. Like, you joined that, by the way. Like, by accepting Avantika, you are now like, hi, welcome to the faction. Here's your tabard.
Oh, that's weird. Because they really didn't align with any real faction in the first campaign. So now they're just like, here you go.
Well, yeah, they are now recognized members because a ship saw them.
Yep.
They are now recognized members of the Revelry, which is, a pirating organization.
Yeah.
But Darktoe, Jess, if you want to talk about Darktoe.
No, I mean
The
that was
city?
most of it. They approached it, and there were islands with watchtowers and bolt throwers, and just like Matt was describing how like impressive, the defenses were, which made sense as to why it had not been taken back in its 40 plus years. And then we started to get, I think Matt singled out anyone with any sort of like history or like knowledge of the ocean and stuff, like, or sea or whatever, seafaring stuff, and he was like, that like the current Plank King has been in power for about 15 years. The current Plank King is Wyatt Marinos, and that all you know about him is that he's a giant of a man who killed the previous Plank King.
Yep.
Yeah.
Also, how simple and awesome and amazing is just the title, the Plank King.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just so great sounding. Like, it's also like not like this really like, I mean, it's the plank.
Yeah.
But, like, the Plank King is just like, how does that work? Like, it just works. It's so good.
This just keeps showing my age, but the thing I think of when I hear Plank King is the cartoon Ed, Ed, and Eddie, where there was literally a character that's just a plank.
Yep. That was my
Plank.
favorite.
Yes, he was my favorite character, even though he was actually just a plank. But going off of that, the Plank King in this is not just a plank, but instead just one beast of a man that wears the fucking scalp of the previous king on his head.
It was so gross when Matt described
I liked how Matt described, like, Goliaths don't have hair, let alone long, luxurious black locks.
Yeah.
And you guys with history know that the previous Plank King was known for his luxurious black locks. And I like how Travis was like, whoa.
How is he keeping the hair healthy?
That's what I want to know. 15 years is a long time to keep a dead protein alive. Like,
I mean, there's magic. There could
bleh.
be magic.
I mean,
magical.
The skin part, I suppose you could like tan the leather, but then wouldn't that
I
harm
knew-
the hair? Like, sorry, I'm gonna
I
stop
knew
talking about this now.
No, I know, but like, because I had the same thoughts, and I was like, I bet when we get to this part, we're gonna like, how does that work?
Yeah, sorry.
And also,
sorry.
the simple answer could just be
Magic. Yeah, let's just go with magic. Let's not.
We're going with magic
Let's
for
not
now.
think about
It's
it
magic.
too much and go with magic.
And he's a big boy. He's a
big boy.
Goliath.
yes.
With a big personality.
Because
Oh my god, the voice, the accent,
the North
accent.
remembers. I'm like, oh my god, he's a Northerner. He's fucking Sean Bean. If
What?
campaign
okay.
2 if campaign 2 was set to cast, it would be Sean Bean
Yeah.
as the Plank
Oh
King.
gosh.
He was this is a great new accent that we haven't really heard Matt do.
Yes, I feel like
And
we haven't
it's
heard Matt do
good.
this one before, and it's really he has nailed it. Like
It was a really
such-
good Northern. I meant to, because I don't know, Christina probably just, I don't know if she watches this stuff anymore, but like I thought of her when I saw that because she's from the North and
Yeah.
you know she has Northern accents and it was
Yeah.
a good accent.
Yeah.
Yes.
I also thought it was interesting at the during their time on the island. We got a little bit of interaction with some of the characters on the boats we haven't seen in a little bit lately. We got to hear from like people we hadn't seen much, like Galen,
Oh, what was her name?
Marius
Yep,
Lapois, and specifically Jametti, as he was leaving, turns and gives them a warning about Avantika. And that's not the only time that happens this episode. Like
Everybody's warning about Avantika.
Yes. How much does Matt want to give them every opportunity right now with like everyone warning them? Like,
Well, yeah, like I loved
I
mean, I loved the Plank King's warning was like, this is a fucking fanatic.
yeah.
Like, she's a fanatic and a dream chaser, and you know, be careful of her. And I'm just like, okay. And Jametti warned you. I also like the poor little people they hired on this boat who got themselves into things that they didn't
I
know
feel
they
for
were
them.
really getting themselves into.
They are me. If I were in this game, I would be one of them. Be like, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah, I have like written here like 3 times in my notes. Avantika is crazy. Avantika is crazy. Avantika is crazy.
Yep.
Like,
And that's coming from a dude, a king who scalped the previous king. That is
wears
good.
it. And wears it.
And a dude who is dead for mysterious reasons that we still don't know why. Those are the people who told us that Avantika is crazy. Think about that. Think about what
that's some. I mean, that's like slapping you right in the face. Just be like, pay attention.
Yeah, it's a lot. I'm interested to see where they take things next episode because they could get out. There's a total possibility that they could leave now that they're on dry land.
You think so?
I mean,
You think they can make a break?
It's
ship
a
could be
possibility.
They still have to fix
Well,
the boat. It is
Yeah.
sufficient but not good right now.
And it's Avantika's boat.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, but at least they're on land.
And they were reminded by the Plank King, that now that they are members of this society, like, they cannot do crimes against other pirates.
Yeah, there are rules.
Yeah.
Do not harm and do not take. And he enforces the law himself.
Yep. So that's and he reminded them of the skulls on pikes they saw along the way.
Okay, the other thing I want to talk about is his like base of operations is fucking cool. Like, it's built up into this mountain. They had to go a long ways up, and the entire way is just skulls and scalps and skulls and scalps, and then it's carved into this mountain. With the scene Matt set, this is just another me going over. I love how Matt just describes these scenes, like this slick rock in this rain in this pirate like town, and it's like storming, and like there's just like a great just visual as they come up this narrow path into this giant vaulted hall that has inlets where there's just people just waiting, and also a stenographer.
Yes.
Which stenographer gags.
That was so funny.
Because those poor people, I mean, that's just his job. Linus, yep. Blah, 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 blah.
Yep. Stenographers. So, they...
Oh, the other thing, that, to go back to Jess's Avantika is crazy, the Plank King literally looks at Bo and says, if you got any, like, just tell me and I'll reward you for any information about Avantika.
How much?
I like that she acted offended for half a second. that, like, she was like, am I that noticeable? They're like, you knew you were a snitch. Am I that noticeable, Switch? Your first question to him was how much?
Yeah.
Like, they, like, called her out. They're like...
She was so offended, like, what? Do I just look like a snitch? Like, well, you did just literally respond right away.
Yes.
with,
The first words out your mouth.
how much?
How much?
Oh my god, there's...
So that's another telling thing, like, the Plank King wants to know what she's up to.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a guy who's probably not really afraid of, having his power taken, but he pays attention to threats.
Yeah.
And if he sees Avantika as anything and wants information on him, that says a lot too. Like, please.
Avantika's scary.
Mm-hmm.
Just in general.
Well, and I think like fanatical following of something like that, especially for a power like that, is a scary thing. And you can get kind of lulled into her charisma. I don't know why I pronounced it like that. Her charisma. Pretty easy, and I think that happens a little bit. They kind of, forget that she's a fanatical crazy person, and then Matt has to, through PCs, be like, no, she's crazy. These guys all telling you she's crazy.
Multiple times over.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm just interested if he is interested in her, because he made sure to immediately they enter, oh, you're with this chick, this trick, cray cray. And then, but then, like, as they're leaving, pulls one of them aside, I want to know everything that she's doing. Like, which is very, like, does that mean you suspect she might be capable of some of the crazy things you've heard? Like, does that mean that you think she might get, like, crazy ocean powers and take out your island? Because, that would give her a lot of power over you. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Or, like, is it just a general suspicion thing? Like, because people in power are paranoid? Is it, like, you know what I mean? There's a lot of possibilities there.
Yeah.
There's a lot that could happen, but
Yeah,
we will
there's-
find out
Next week!
next week, hopefully.
Hopefully.
I like how Kate's
I
just
mean,
like, I love her.
I know.
Okay.
She will
Something's
kill them
gotta
all,
Kate.
though, Kate. And Kate's fine with that, I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's... I like Avantika's final words. He's certainly a series of adjectives.
Yes. That's something I should use more often in my daily life.
That was a wonderful statement.
Yes. All right.
Yep.
Yes, we do, Kate.
Everyone
We do
done?
know you.
I think
Yes.
that's it. Anything
that's...
you wanted to mention about the episode that we didn't cover?
I mean, I could
Nope.
I could talk theories forever, but we reached
You
the
have-
logical... Yes.
We have
reached
meant to... Oh,
the
okay.
logical end of the
I
episode.
kind of want to know what theories you have now, though.
No, God, too many. Too many.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about your theories before we started this. Otherwise, I would have picked one to let you talk about. I mean, is it a Ford cast? Or is it... No, okay. Anybody in chat, you guys have anything that you wanted us to cover or ask us any questions before we end this? Because we're kind of at the natural conclusion. We can dock our ships in this port and call it a night.
Yes.
I think that's what we'll do.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, with that.
So drop that anchor. I hope you all have a wonderful night, and we are Critical Role. And
No, we're not.
No, we're not. We're really, really not.
why am I like I'm just gonna quit.
Guys,
This
thank
is
you
my
so
last
much for
episode,
attending
everyone.
episode
All right.
117 of Critical Reroll. I'm Jess, or go_JG, and Avast. Thanks so much for being here.
I'm Ben, at Bardic Puppy on Twitter, and I think I just fired Dustin.
I mean, I am Dustin at GeoNerd on Twitter. I think I just fired myself. I just can't do this anymore. I don't even know who I am.
Thank you guys for being here. You're all awesome. We heart your faces. Goodbye, night.
Night. That is a heart.
Critical Reroll.